Football Focus, 50 best players in the NFL right now. They unveiled 31 to 40 today. Two of them are Browns. Nick Chubb, another guy that just wants to win, 37. Aided by an excellent Browns offensive line, Chubb finished third in the league in rushing last season, averaging 5 yards a carry, per attempt, breaking 83 tackles along the way. And number 40, we've talked about this guy already, Joel Bitonio. Always flown a little under the radar compared to the other guards at the position. His play matches the elite at the position over the last few years. Bitonio earned an 87.5 overall grade last season, allowed 20 total pressures in 17 games. And I've said it on the show a couple of times, a couple more seasons at the level he's at, and he's got one of them fancy gold jackets that Joe Thomas got.
Yeah, he can join Joe in Canton, and I think it's poetic. Since '99, this team hasn't had that kind of consistency. You've had Joe Thomas, and now if you look, man, now you got Joel walking in his 10th season, and he's just starting to stack these all-pros like right now. I think early in his career, he was kind of overshadowed by players like Marshall Yanda, you know what I mean? But now that we're in this part of his career, I think he's going to play in Cleveland as long as he wants to. As long as he wants to keep playing football, I think there'll be a spot for Joel Bitonio. But when you look at like Nick Chubb, and there's been a lot of talk over the last day about how the running back position has been devalued, and I think it even reflects in this ranking. A player of Nick Chubb's skill and ability, if we're talking this in the 2008, he's a top 10 player in the league. But because that position has been devalued, you're seeing him come in at 37, which isn't a knock. I mean, this is the most elite level athletes in the world are playing in the NFL. And he's considered the 37th best player. There's no slide in that. But just given what he's able to do with the ball in his hands, he is truly special. I mean, you look over the course of history in the NFL, players that average over 5 yards a clip. I mean, it's Jim Brown, it's Barry Sanders. I think the outlier there is probably Jamal Charles. The sample size is big enough with Nick now, I think, just to recognize his greatness. This isn't a fluke. This is a guy who's a workhorse who the other team knows getting the ball, and he's still getting over 5 yards a clip. And people will point to the offensive line, which is great, and that's a good symbiotic relationship they have. But the fact that he's breaking 83 tackles tells you he's not a product of the offensive line. He is that good.
I'm curious to see how he does when they spread it out a little bit, because you figure there's going to be fewer people in the box. He's not somebody, 83 broken tackles says, I don't go down the first guy that hits me. So, and you're going to have smaller guys on the field.
Yeah, I think he's waiting for that too. He's waiting to see how it looks too, because he hasn't had a chance to see it. He's been the focal point, and it's I think you're going to get a lot of that in fourth quarters this year when teams know you're going to run. But if this passing offense is able to take off, it's just going to lighten everything up and just present more opportunity. And I seen where Stump Mitchell was talking. He thinks Nick can average 6 yards a carry. I'm right there with Stump Mitchell. I think that is definitely on the table in 2023.
I agree with you. He's been running 8 and 9 man boxes. I don't think you're going to see too many of those with Deshaun Watson and some of the wide receivers.